All right. So
Hey,
welcome.
you guys. You hear me? You hear me okay?
Hey, Daniel, how are you doing?
Hey, good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for being on with us
Awesome.
today. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
For sure. Looking forward to having you. So everybody, welcome to the FFL Solidity team call. Again, this call is every Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, 12 o'clock Pacific. We do have a very special guest on with us today, Mr. Daniel Rosales. When I had initially, face-to-face met Daniel because he lives out in California, I was just kind of really floored in a good way by his story. And I think that his numbers kind of back it up. So not to steal, Daniel's shine here, but just to kind of give him a brief intro and kind of brag on him a little bit. The reason why I chose Daniel to be on, the last call of the year, because that's really what it is because Daniel's really consistent. Like if we look in like the West Coast Slack workspace, you always see him writing. It's like there doesn't go like 2 weeks that Daniel's just taking time off or, he's out there, he's helping clients, he's serving families, and he's doing his job. And he's crushing it. Over 50,000 in personal production, multiple months, issuing 30, 40, 50K, crazy and incredible, Daniel. And then also building a team, issuing over $100,000 a month. So congratulations to you, Daniel. And just again, super excited to have you on. So with all of that being said, just to kind of introduce you, tell us a little bit about kind of who you are, your background, and what kind of got you into FFL.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I appreciate you saying that. Appreciate you again having me on the call. I really hope I can pour as much value today as I can with this call. So I'm going to do the best I can here. But yeah, definitely getting started with FFL. Prior to FFL, I was already making money. So, a lot of people, I think, that get into this business, right, they're not making any money. So they're coming here to make money. With my situation, it was a little different. I owned a business in a shopping mall for about 5 years. And I just came from an entrepreneur mindset. I always worked commission based jobs, so that was all I worked. I think I had one hourly job in the mall, and I hated it. I couldn't stand it. I was like, are you serious? Like, I'm capped on how much I'm making. I'm sitting here waiting for people to walk up and buy something, and I'm only getting paid, I think it was like $10 at the time. So I just always was obsessed with commission because I always wanted to get paid on how hard I worked. I think that when I saw FFL, it kind of fell into my lap because my businesses, had them for 5 years. Like I said, was making money. We'll get into that a little more, but the malls got shut down. When the pandemic hit, the malls closed. So when the malls closed, the money stopped. Right? It's like all my income just stopped. And I still had bills, right? The mall, they don't say, oh, hey, because the mall closed down, because everything's going on, you don't got to pay us rent. At the time, I think I was paying $3,000 a month in rent. And then, just sitting on a bunch of inventory I couldn't sell because everything was shut down. People were running around for toilet paper, right? It was real crazy at that time. I didn't know what I was going to do. My apartment rent, thank God that I was coming up to the end of my lease. I think I had like a month left of my lease. So I was coming up to the end of my lease and I didn't renew. And I was living in Riverside at the time. So I ran back up, up the hill up here in the Victorville area. My parents lived up here. I'm like, okay, I'll go stay with them until this whole thing kind of dies out because we don't really know what's going on. So, so basically kind of just how I found FFL was from a friend that I worked with in the industry I was in. I used to travel for like hair shows and stuff like that I used to sell different products. And she posted a picture with the client, and she was smiling with this client in a house. And I was right away like, yo, what are you doing? I didn't know what I'm going to do. So I asked her, what are you doing? What's up with the pic? And she told me about Family First Life. And the first question I had was, okay, what's the pay? When she said 100% commission, I'm like, dude, you're joking. And she's like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, okay, well, let's sit down and like, show me. Like, I don't believe you. Like the highest commission I've worked was 30%. And that was like top level in the industry I was in. Like if you got 30%, like you're lucky to get 30%. You know what I mean?
You
Because
were
you
it,
worked so
yeah, for
hard,
sure. So
So
just to kind of, pause real quick because there's just so much good
yeah.
information in here. So it's like, Daniel, you owned a business, for 5 years, and I can only
Mhm.
imagine what that felt like having to go through that. But through that, you found another business that you're crushing it in. And in that time, it was all through a social media post that led you there, right?
Mhm.
So it's kind of ironic, so to say, how we talk about social media, social media, social media, and it's like, where did you come from? Social media. Where did I come from? Social media. Where did, 75% of the company come from, right? So it's really interesting just to kind of hear how you went from being able to take that entrepreneurial mindset and bring it right over to FFL. Like you're the person who was excited about 1099. You were like, I'm
Yeah,
excited, I'm on commission, right? You know,
absolutely. Yeah.
versus the person who's scared because you were betting on yourself, right?
Hmm.
And I think that's huge. So that kind of tells us kind of what attracted you to FFL. But what kind of made you say, like, you know what, I'm gonna go all in here. I can do this.
Yeah, when I heard like again when I heard about the comp, when I heard about the 100%, I mean, it just wasn't real to me because, like I said, coming from 30% commission when I was just working as a salesperson, I wanted to get to that next level of money. That's why I opened up a kiosk, because I was working for someone on a kiosk for so long that to move up and level up, now it was like, okay, now I need to get money together and open up my own business, so that I can, so when I heard about just the commission schedule, just being able to come in and produce and make 100% of everything, I mean, that was just a game changer for me. So I just plugged in, right away plugged in when I was in class. It didn't take me long to make the decision that I wanted to do this because it just made sense. Like it just like if you could do math, it makes sense, right? It's like you figure out this person's making X amount. This is the commission. It's like, dude, let's do it. So when I got into my pre-licensing course, I was on all the calls through the week. I was already positioning myself to only find success when I started, because I just like I just knew who I was. I knew how hard I worked. So I'm like, I can do this. Like, I know that I'm gonna work hard. And really, I mean, going all in was just that. It was my mindset, like just getting in that place of already calling out what production I was gonna hit. And I was talking to all my friends before I was even licensed. I was telling them like, dude, I'm about to make 30 grand a month. And they're like, dude, what are you talking about? And I'm like, dude, I'm gonna make 30 grand a month. Watch, like it's gonna be crazy. And they're like, they thought I was crazy. They're like, dude, you're crazy anyways,
Yeah.
And that's what happened as soon as I got in. So yeah,
Awesome.
I just decided all in, let's do it.
Love it. So, I mean, it sounds
Mhm.
like you didn't really have, too much of a hard time transitioning, so to say, from, point A to point B, if you will. But what were some of maybe like the biggest challenges of being a newly licensed agent for you? Like, being in, Paul McLean's office and having, the support around you probably has been helpful. But what were some of the challenges as a newly licensed agent coming into a new industry, maybe would be a better way to phrase it.
Yeah, like I said, my mindset was where it needed to be, but I'm not good. Like I didn't do anything special. I'm not like, I didn't like everybody I talked to just bought stuff for me. That's not how it was. It was real. Like the challenging part was the phones. Like I was like dialing the phone. Like, dude, like I used to stop people in the shopping mall, like, and I'm in person. So I was so used to face, approaching people in the mall. I'm like, dude, call somebody. That's like, how am I going to do that? So, I mean, like getting plugged in is important for any new agents who got on the call, and making sure you just, plugged into to the dialing. I mean, I think the most important thing is the phones. And I've just studied the phones so much because I knew that that was the key. I knew that if I was good on the phones, and everyone would say it, doesn't matter what happens in the home, you just got to be good on the phones and get those appointments. And Paul McLean was a big part of me hitting the production that I've hit. He was really able to, pour in what he did, when he was a producer, and he's done it for so long. So I think being around Paul McLean, plugging into an office, getting on work spots, like just really getting around the fire is what really kind of kept me going,
Absolutely. Yeah, we always talk about how the phones are, 80
Yeah.
in my personal opinion, 95% of this business. And
Yeah.
it can be a really uncomfortable thing, right? That, we're not really used to, because you're saying I had that face-to-face interaction, I can do that part, but the phone, that's kind of weird and different for me, right? And I think
Mhm.
that a lot of us feel that way in a different context, but somehow on the phones. And like you said, if you can master the phones, you've already mastered like 90% of this business. Did you master
Absolutely.
them overnight, Daniel? The phones,
Absolutely not. Absolutely
right? It's a
not. No.
process, right?
No, I remember when I first was dialing, I was like, dude, this is rough. Because I wasn't working fresh leads. I just got started, so I got some, aged leads handed to me. But once I found out, I think what it was like it was so challenging. The phones were so challenging to me just because I'd never done it. But And in the worst thing that I did, I think if I went back and kind of like saw a challenge, was that I looked at someone else that's been there for 6 months, and I kind of judged myself on like, dude, I can't do this. And like, that was the battle every day. And it's like, that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to look at somebody who's been there 6 months, you've been there one day, and, you know, kind of get that in your head, because that kind of messed me up a few times. That was really challenging. So yeah,
Right,
phones are
because
rough.
you're looking at that result of 6 months, but that's 6
Exactly.
months of hard work and intentional effort versus you're saying like it's my first day or first week or first month, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like the comparison complex comes into play, right?
It
Like
was just that, yeah, it was just
why
that
am I not
repetition.
writing,
Yeah.
your numbers now, right? You're
Uh-huh.
comparing yourselves to, whomever, and it's like we all do that, but definitely not a good thing to do at all, but especially as a newly licensed agent, having that patience with yourself to learn the phones, right? Like knowing
Absolutely.
that those bonus leads and the CRM leads,
Mm-hmm.
you're supposed to get beat up on them. Like, and I say that to like everybody on this call, like the reason why I'm a big believer in starting people on CRM leads is because if you can't get beat up on the phone and pick the phone back up, you're not going to stay in this business, because every day on the phones isn't going to be easy. And if you can master that piece, you can master almost anything. So I love that feedback, Daniel. Like the fact that you just kind of said, okay, let me learn the phones, because that's
Mm-hmm.
the only piece that, is kind of missing for me. Other than that, I'm just going to kind of follow the plan, so to say, in
Absolutely. I
terms
want
of,
to touch on that real quick.
yeah.
The CRM leads, this last year, 2021, 90, I would say 97% of my business that I wrote was all off of CRM leads. So there was no special lead. It was the instant internet leads, 3-month-olds, everything that was in the CRM I worked. Just mastering the phones,
I was
so.
gonna say, did you just like tweak and adjust when you're going from different lead types and just kind of, okay, I know not to say this really to an internet lead doesn't take
Yeah,
this the same way aged mortgage lead takes it, or just kind of
I
finding
just,
that balance.
I just started caring, I just started caring more. I didn't think about myself. I stopped thinking about, in the beginning, he's real like numbers, the business, like if I spend this, am I going to get this back? But like, I started just caring about people. Right. And I already care about people, don't get me wrong, but I just started, I found out, the people I was meeting with, like, these people need our help. Like, these people aren't the people that walk into like State Farm, and like, these people need this protection, because if they die without it, their family is going to be in a tough spot. And when I started meeting with all these different kind of people, I'm like, I can't be selfish. Like Sean Mike says it all the time. Like, dude, don't be selfish. It's not about you. If you're getting into this business for money, then on primarily only money, then it's probably not the best business for you. But if you get into this, to change it for your family and help families, and you care about people, and you see the importance of life insurance, and you believe in what it does for people, then I mean, you're going to do great. It's not going to matter.
Absolutely. I always say, you can do great here for a week, for a month, for 6 months if you want to make money, but then your why better be a lot bigger than money, or you're going to be gone.
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
most people aren't making 30 grand in a month, and then like it's new and it can be scary and it can be overwhelming, but almost like you're like, put the gas on, I made 30K in a month, that means I can make 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 in a month, right? Versus putting a lid on yourself saying, I made 30K, I'm good for the rest of the year, right? You like retire. So
Mm-hmm.
you press forward and push through because you have that entrepreneurial mindset, and you look at this like a business. And you also realize that, like you said, it comes back to the families you're helping at the end of the day. Like, it's not about, that Daniel needs to have 16 appointments. It's that Daniel needs to go see 16 families and help them out because they asked for help. And when we can change that perception, when we're looking at our leads like families, the whole game changes, right? Makes it a lot easier on the phones. It makes it a lot more natural in the home. You don't sound robotic. You don't sound like the salesperson, because you're just looking at that person like it's your mom, dad, brother, sister, grandfather, grandmother. And when you can actually do that, it changes the game. So I'm really happy you brought that up, that you said, I just started caring, right? Because like, it wasn't that you never cared about yourself. It was that you were thinking about the leads a little bit differently, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. That's what really changed it for me.
I love that you brought that up. Thanks for bringing that up, Daniel. And in terms of kind of going from this hybrid model or having access to Zoom and telesales, have you been really utilizing those platforms, or mainly doing it in home still?
I love being in front of the client. Like, that's just me personally. Like, I just feel like you build a relationship, and I think I probably wrote 20 to 30, maybe more. I mean, I haven't tracked it, but off of just referrals. So I think when you build those relationships with people, there's a lot of people that in their family that, it's so life insurance and real estate. It's kind of weird, right? You kind of have like that one guy or that one girl. It's like, that's my real estate agent, or that's my life insurance guy. So that's the real strong thing about like what we do. We're licensed, and a lot of people, it takes, if you're licensed and you're on this call or you're heading to getting into license, I mean, it's a very powerful thing. The license is very powerful. Not everyone has one. So when you get into a house with a family, I think that's what I like. But to answer your question, I do sell over the phone. And I just make it depending on what the client wants to do. It just depends on how I fill the call out. And I'll just ask them, I'll say, hey, would you rather do this now over the phone, or would you rather do it in person? So I have utilized it, not Zoom so much, but I do a little hybrid stuff. But I would say I love being in front of people. Like, I love just getting in front of them. So.
Got it. So you're kind of still getting in front of that client
Yeah.
unless they really don't want you in front of them, so to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love how you put that, because I think it's exactly like you hit that right on the head. And it's kind of funny because, I've spoke with you, but not too often, unfortunately, but that's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact of how you said, being face to face, that drive, that hour drive to that person's home, that no-show that you get, that whatever it is when you're going in home, but you're able to connect with that person. Say you have 7 appointments set, you sit with 5 and 2 no-show you. You have a great relationship with those 5 families who, like Daniel said, you're actually going to probably save money, so to say, because they're giving you referrals. They trust you. They like you. Like, next thing you know, you're sitting with their brother, and you're sitting with the brother's, wife's daughter, like, and it just trickles down. And when that happens, it can become a really beautiful thing. So I encourage anybody who, hasn't done life insurance sales, definitely start face to face and then kind of play it by ear there. So thank you for that, Daniel. Face to face, it pays, right? It pays
Absolutely.
for those miles. It pays for those
It
no-shows,
does.
for all of those things, and
Mm-hmm.
some, right?
Absolutely.
So what are some of, you have kind of, like, in terms of family, I'm, Marisa, 28 years old, boyfriend in Boston, but your situation looks a little bit different, right? So how do you balance some of your non-negotiables, or what do those look like, whether that's for you, for your family, for work, what does that look like?
Non-negotiables. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that there's always going to be like battles every day, maybe not getting out of bed, or, not being at the office when you need to be, not hitting the phones when you should. So it is just choices, it's choices that you make. You got to choose to work hard. You got to make that choice for you and your family, for your financial situation. It's like that thing, right? Like, everybody wants to make money, but nobody's really willing to go out and work for it, or some people will be in a situation where, like, man, if I was just if I would just be in a vehicle to where I could just make as much money as I want, I would be good. And then they find that vehicle, and then they sit there and they're like, oh shoot, like, they're not really going to work. So those choices are huge, those choices are big. I mean, I came around a hardworking family, my mom and dad, when I was about 6 years old, my mom was hustling on the corner selling German Shepherd puppies and Chihuahuas. She had me and my brother waving the signs for people to stop the cars and come buy a dog. And now, she has her own daycare she's had for over 20 years. And she's just always been a hustler. I've always been around that hardworking ethic, like the hard work ethic. My dad, I mean, he'd wake up at 3 a.m., go work at the warehouse, come back at like 3 in the afternoon. And you could tell he's exhausted, but, he'd look out in the yard, he'd see the weeds or something that needed to be done. And instead of him going to do what was comfortable and going to lay down, he went outside and he pulled those weeds, and, he'd clean the garage. And it's like, and I would just admire that. It was like, man, like, I know you're exhausted. I know you're tired. And I think I just like saw that. And that's my biggest why now is, to work as hard as I can to give back to my parents that have worked so hard to give me what they could. Right. So I think, yeah, work ethic was a big non-negotiable. It was like, dude, I'm just really going to work hard, and I'm not going to do what's comfortable. And I still, for everyone on this call, like, I'm not like a superhero. Like, every morning I don't want to get out of bed. Like, I don't want to get out of bed. It feels so good. But like, that's the biggest battle. It's yourself, it's me against me every day, so I hope that answers your question.
I love that. And you know, it really just goes to show, like, you know, like, kudos to your mom and dad, you know, just for, like, you know, showing that hustle. And because at the end of the day, like, you were probably a young kid not realizing how much you were going to appreciate that. And now you're like, you're in a vehicle where you're able to give back, and you grew up seeing how hard they worked, which is, you know, amazing. And, you know, you're able to give back, I'm sure, to them and more, right? And it's like, now, like you said, you're in that vehicle that you can make whatever you want to make, but it's up to you, right? Like, it's like you said, it's you versus you. Every day when you wake up, it's you versus you. And sometimes we want to format it and want to make it like it's me versus Daniel. Like, you know, I'm going to outright Daniel today. But at the
Exactly.
end of the day, like, you know, like, that's not real. That's not the reality. That's me putting a label on it and saying, hey, this is my excuse today. You know, Daniel's better than me, right? Or like, you know, well, Daniel got a jump start on his dials, or whatever it might be. It's like, no, just focus on what you're doing, right? Focus on yourself. And that's what, like, tunnel vision is going to get you there. And you know, kind of going off of what you just said, which to kind of, it's a hard thing to piggyback off because it's so strong. But on those days that the phone, you know, feels heavy, so to say, what are some things that help push you when you just want to put the phone down because Tom yelled at you and Donna told you to never call her house again, and you know, you, like, you know, you talk to 40 people and you book 4 appointments? Because we've been there, right, Daniel? I know I have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. The way I've handled that is I just, you know, in the beginning, you know, I was buying leads. I didn't really know how my lead flow was going to look. So I was just, you know, I was starting to just kind of dip and buy 20, buy 30. Right. And that's where it was kind of like what changed for me with kind of making sure I always hit the appointments was like, I just bought more leads. Right. So it's like, if I had enough leads on dial day, the emotion wasn't there. Like, Barbara, Janet, and everybody in her whole family can tell me to screw off or whatever, right? But it didn't matter because I didn't let it affect my like tonality on the phone. Nothing changed, so I would just move on to the next lead, and I would come back to it in the end, maybe, you know. So just having enough leads on dial day really took that emotion away. Like, that's what really helped me, because I knew that if I wasn't at 16 appointments by 5 o'clock, I knew I'd get there by 9 o'clock. So I was just choosing to dial longer, choosing to do whatever it takes, you know.
Right, going back to, like, choosing the uncomfortability, right? Because it's going to
Absolutely.
help you grow.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. And like Daniel said, it's like, if you have the lead count in front of you, you're not worried about it. If I have 100 leads of any lead on a dial day, I don't care if it's a 50-cent lead. I feel good. I don't care. Like you said, like Janet, you know, like I just toss it on the ground. I go to the next one. It's not this emotional, you know, thing. It's okay. Who's next? And that's how it should always be. But that dangerous place of buying 20, 30 leads is definitely not a good place to be. So definitely take note of that. If you didn't hear that, I want to reiterate what Daniel just said. Do not buy 20 or 30 leads. You cannot book 16 appointments off of that. So
Yep.
please
Buy
do
100.
that.
Get
Yes,
100 leads.
buy 100. Figure it out. Please call
Absolutely.
me, you know.
Get a credit card if
And
you have to. I mean, sometimes you got to do that. You know, get a credit card, buy leads, and then you're going to be able to pay that credit card bill no problem the next week or the week after. Just do what you got to do to get those leads if you don't got the money.
so huge right there. Absolutely. Because if you believe in yourself enough, business is going to work, because it works for me and works for Daniel and works for everybody on this call. It's going to work for you too. And then kind of a lot of this kind of being mental. So kind of going to in-home, I guess we can say, because you're really strong in the home. And I could talk to you for like 3 hours about what you say, but a lot of it is mental. So before you go into a home, what are some things that you are doing, or some things that you're not doing, if that makes sense, to make sure that you're going in there and you're focused on that family, not necessarily focused on Daniel?
Yeah. I mean, first, when I start my day, you know, I really like to start my day, you know, with prayer, right? That's like a big thing for me. So like, I'll, you know, talk to God and ask him, you know, put me in front of people today. I need my help. You know, if I don't write anything today, it's okay. That's fine. This isn't about me. So I think just getting your mind to where you really put that in the morning, like, hey, this isn't about me. This is about other people. I'm going to go out there and do what I can today. And you know, if no shows happen, they happen. That's normal. It happens to everyone. But I'm going to focus on activity, and I'm going to call other people that need my help, and just kind of setting up my mind like that in the morning. And then on the way to an appointment, this might sound crazy, but if I'm not listening to a podcast, I'm like talking to myself, like I'm like talking out loud, like I'm already in the home. So like I'll be driving and I'll be like, hey guys, my job's simple. My job's just to, kind of, go over the different options with you, see what you qualify for. And then I'm like playing it out. Like if they're in front of me, but I'm driving, I'm still looking at the road, but just kind of speaking it, like getting comfortable with how I'm going to open up, how I'm going to set the table. Like this is what I do. These are the carriers I work with. And then when I get in the house, it's like all right there, it's all there. So that's something that I've always done. That's really helped,
Absolutely. And I really like that. So it's like you said, if you're not listening to podcasts, you're getting kind of closer to the house. I do the same thing. And I just say, like, I call it my role and purpose, like my structural, piece in the home, so to say. And I do the same thing. I talk to myself out loud. And it doesn't sound crazy to me because I do it. But it's like, if you are on this call and you haven't done it, you probably should if you're not seeing the result. Because what you're saying out loud, like you said, you're starting your day with prayer, right? You're starting your day and you're manifesting good things, to come to you and to come to the people around you. And then on top of that, once you're getting to the house, you're basically almost going back to that in essence, because that's how you're helping people, right? If you don't have a strong setup, no one's going to listen to you because you're all shaken and broken in the home, right? So if you say it out loud enough times, then you're good to go. So I love that. I love that so much. Thanks for sharing that. I thought I was the only one who did that, Daniel. I always sit at the red light, like the last light or stop sign before, and I look at myself in the rearview mirror and I just say, I'm the best. If anybody can help this family, it's me. And it gives me that little boost of confidence that even being in this business for 8 years now, we still need it, right? So thank you for that. And then
no
so far, how has FFL helped change, your life, your teammates' lives, your family's life? Like, kind of what does that look like for you?
Yeah, it's changed my life big time, I think what really changed was that, with the business I had before, I was making money, but it wasn't a lot, with product costs and employees and having to deal with, if they didn't sell, right? If your employees aren't selling, then you're not making money. With this business, it wasn't like that because I got 100% commission, so I can go out there and kill it. And this isn't like an override business, like to where you're focused on like your downline making money off them. Like you want everyone to succeed here. You want everyone to make money for their family. And I was able, my mom and dad, they had a custom house built, years ago. And like I said, I moved back with them and the backyard is just dirt and trees and stuff. My dad and mom were like, hey, I really want to get a pool back here. It'd be nice if we got a pool. And we've been talking about it for years, So I just, was able to give my mom and dad about $25,000 to start their pool construction, and I think that was huge. Like I was able to be like, hey, and it wasn't even like all the money in my account. That's all good I was doing. And even in the beginning, because I just chose to go to work. But it was like that right there, like being able to give, your mom and dad $25,000 to start a pool. And now the backyard looks freaking amazing. Right. And I think it was just awesome. That was just an awesome thing that changed everything for me and my family, and like just being able to see them happy. And it just drove me more. I'm like, I want to give them more. Like my dad's 51, he's gonna retire soon. I want to be able to buy him a bow. So my why just started growing, like, and it was just all about giving back. Also another thing that changed for my agent, Chase Cramp, you guys probably seen him on the board. I mean, dude, he's throwing bombs out sometimes, and you got a lot of big hitters on your team. And I see a lot of people that new guy you got on there, Rami, you guys. Yeah, I noticed him hitting the board, and I love that. You got a lot of strong people on your team, and I think that's because they choose to follow that leadership you have and work hard. And these calls they help a lot. So making sure that they're plugged into that. But it's changed everything. Seeing Chase Cramp come from HVAC, he was freaking working with air conditioning machines and heaters and stuff. And I remember when I first met Chase, he was part-time, and I told him like, dude, I'm gonna do everything I could. And I'm not going to change it. I'm doing everything I could to help you get out of that. And he was like, all right, brother. If you met him, he's real like, yes, sir. Real military style. And I just poured into Chase. I just told him like, dude, this is what I did. I'm nothing special. Just find someone you relate to on YouTube that's in Family First Life and copy them. Like, that's what I did. I copied Paul McClain. It's a copy and paste business. So I told him like, dude, find someone. And he found Matt Smith and he started copying him. And then I helped him with the phones. And seeing Chase now, full-time 40K producer, bought himself a truck and just paid cash for it, and just the things he's able to do now. And he's no longer at that prior company. And it's just amazing to see where he was to where he is now. And it just inspires me every day, to keep going. I'm like, I need to help more people. So, I mean, it's awesome.
Absolutely. That's just like a touch my heart because it's like, 25,000. It's like if somebody said that number to me a year ago, I would be like, who has 25,000? And the fact that in this vehicle, we're able to get that and you're able to provide that to your family. And then also seeing other people in your team just by providing the opportunity of saying, hey, look at this. Hey, step this way, don't step that way. And seeing how it fills up, it fills up their tank, so to say, as well. It's a beautiful thing. And like you said, it really does just make you want to give more and give more and give more. I know for me, I had donated some, gifts for Christmas. And like after, I was like, I just want to do more and do more and do more. And it wasn't like I wanted to publicize it. It's because it makes me feel good about myself. And that's how it fills my cup, so to say. And then seeing other teammates, like you just said, like Chase, like being able to go to a car dealership and being like all set, right? Like, I don't need a loan. Like, here we go. Like with legal money, like look at the opportunity we're in, guys. Like that's amazing. So like just love hearing stories like that across the board. That's beautiful. And then just to kind of close it out, Daniel, I want to be respectful of your time too. What are some of your goals or what's your personal goal for 2022 and what's your team goal for 2022?
Okay, yeah. So I just looked at the IP report today, and I'm at 396 for the year. So we got one more week to issue. So definitely, I submitted a lot of business this last week, so I'm gonna hit Hall of Fame.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. And then next year, I'm gonna go for it again. And I think that if I could go back and tell myself, when I first started, what I should have did is I should have hired more. I should have recruited a lot more people. I should have told a lot more people about the business. I was selfish in that way. And this year now, my goal is to, at the end of December of 2022, I want to be at $500,000 a month. Outside of, Chase, I want Chase to be at $500,000 too. So I want to be at $1 million a month by December. I know that I'm going to hire a lot more aggressively this year and just kind of really let everyone know about FFL. Like, there's no reason they should be working anywhere else. Like, this is that good. This is that good that it doesn't matter. Like, even nurses, like, it's just crazy the money that we're able to make here. It's like nobody should be in the situations they're in. I mean, doctors and stuff, yeah, we need them, right? But like grocery stores, stuff like that, like, leave it to the the people that have been there for a long time and like don't work there. Like, this is too good of an opportunity to get tied up with something like that. So I think just my goals are going to be hiring more and then just hitting Hall of Fame again. And yeah, pretty much.
Awesome. Well, I didn't even know you're at 396, which is amazing because I saw your name that you were like about to be there a couple of weeks back. So shout out to you for hitting Hall of Fame because you're definitely going to hit it. So congratulations. Yeah. And, just super great goals because it's amazing in this business when we can come in and we can make a lot of money for ourselves. But then when we can start seeing other people around us also making a lot of money because we just shared an opportunity, like you said, like I don't think there's a better opportunity in the world than what we do here. Like
it's just not, it's that good.
Like it just fills our hearts. It helps our clients. It's a win-win-win across the board. So Daniel, I know you're going to crush that Hall of Fame next year as well. I know you're going to crush over $1 million a month by December of next year. No doubt in my mind. So super just like thankful that you were on today. And I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on the call. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Right. Have a good rest of the day.
You too. Take care.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
All right, guys. So if Daniel Rosales didn't just fire you up, like, I don't know. I'm like, I should have opened up with recognition because that was really, really good. So kind of closing out the year, I wanted to get somebody different on a call. And to be honest, like I had mentioned at the beginning of that call, Daniel's amazing, but I've only spoke to Daniel a couple of times. So my point being is, just like I always say, like, hey, like, don't be scared to reach out to other people. It's like, just like, I reached out to Daniel, hey, would you like to be on our team call? Like, would you mind? You want to help out? He's like excited about it. Just like when people ask me to go on their call, I'm excited about it. I want to help other people around us. So don't ever lose sight of that. That's really just what Family First Life's about. But Christina, I do want to go ahead and go through some recognition, and then we'll just kind of wrap up the call before 4 o'clock. All right. So it's crazy to say that we are officially in week 1 of 2022 in terms of Family First Life. So today marks the first day of January week 1. So again, the week starts on Thursday, ends on Wednesday. So Happy New Year, guys. Let's just make this year a lot better than this past year, but I'm super proud of everybody and our accomplishments this year. All right, so top issue paid producer weeks 1 to 3, and like this right here proves it. And it's like, we can say like, oh, Yori's always this, Yori's always, then beat Yori, right? Like Yori, I love you so much, by the way. Then beat Yori, right? Because it's like Yori's just going out and she's just doing her job. Just like it's like, you know, no surprise at all that she's crushing it. But it's, my point is that we can all go out and do this. It's about a choice, right? But it's crazy. Super proud of you, Yori. Just super thankful to have you on the team. And in 21 days, Yori's deposited well over $45,000 into her bank account. So not only is she helping families, but she's also getting paid pretty well to do so and helping her team as she grows. So super proud of you, Yori. All right, and then top 5 producers weeks 1 to 3. So again, Yori Her, 46,000, Rami Hamadi, 31, Christopher Shin, 21, myself, 17, Evan, 17. So way to go, guys. Proud of you. We do still have 2 more weeks until the final year's numbers will be in. So I do just want to make sure everybody is aware of that. But way to go, everybody. Great job. All right. And then December week 3, so just for the actual week 3 of December, top issue paid producer, Miss Yori Her at 15,606. So again, in 1 week, 7 days, over $15,000 deposited in her bank account, and a lot of families helped. So way to go, Yori. And congratulations to the first-time writers for December week 3, which are Austin I, Shanice W, and Wanda S. Super proud of all of you guys. It's one thing when you can come into this business and you are kind of intimidated, you're timid, and you lean back, lean in and get uncomfortable, just like the 3 of them did, and just start moving. So just keep going. If you can do it once, you can do it a million times. And no, I will never stop saying that. So sorry, guys, love you, but way to go, guys. Super proud. And congratulations to newly licensed agents. So Jennifer T, Dulce R, Eddie A, Robert B, Ryan B, and Catherine C. Welcome to the team. Again, just like you saw Daniel, just move fast to break things, and we're going to help you along the way. But don't overanalyze anything. Just hop right in, dive in. So congratulations on passing your exams, and welcome to the team, guys. And then top weekend producer, so this was Christmas weekend, but Mr. Alec Austin, who has been killing it though, by the way, you know, and Alec's probably looking at that 4,700 and he's like, but I wrote that in the past like 2 days. So Alec's out in Miami, Florida. He's been crushing it, brand new agent, no prior experience, and he just puts his head down. He just goes to work. And that's what you know, every time I reach out to Alec, I'm like, hey, Alec, like, you know, what's going on? He's like, you know, basically just work in you, like you need something, you know, and in a great way. So way to go, Alec. I'm excited to have you on the team, and I'm really excited to see what you're going to do in 2022. I think it's going to be a big one for you. So super proud of you. Way to go, man. And every Thursday, so on Zoom at 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 Pacific time, there's going to be a new agent call. And I think we went over this really briefly last week, but just to touch back on it, if you're hiring agents, I would encourage you to be plugging them into this call. The reason is it's called a new agent call for a reason, and I wasn't even trying to be funny when I said that. We want to make sure that when someone gets licensed, that piece right there is the most, I would say, crucial piece to get somebody actually moving in this business. It's one thing to hold a license, but utilize that license. That's all we want for everybody. So when you're licensed, in that crucial time that you're basically waiting for your license to clear and your agent numbers to come in, do what Daniel did. Get familiar with the phones. Go through the boot camp, but don't overanalyze after that. When your agent codes come in, get uncomfortable on the phones. We all get beat up on the phones. We all get beat up on the phones. Like, I don't think everyone would be lying if they said they never got beat up on the phones on this call. every single person. Like, you're alive. Because we all do. But we also, out of those getting beat up on the phones, I can take Karen telling me like, yeah, no, I'm busy until, March of next year. Like, I can take Karen doing that because it's like next. And you're going to just learn how to not care about what Karen had to say, So of course I had to use Karen. But you're gonna stop caring. When I first came into this business with leads anyways, I was emotional. I was like, oh, well, now that was another $5. Like, stop. Like, grow up, first of all. Like, I love you guys, but first of all, it's a family. It's not $5. And second of all, just go to the next one. If you dwell on that one lead, you're going to ruin your whole dial session. Like, there's been times that I know that I've done it that, somebody, or I get a couple of phone calls. I make a couple of phone calls. Like, I make 20 phone calls. By the way, 20 phone calls is not enough. It is not enough to even book. If you book one appointment on 20 phone calls, that's good. So if you're making 20 dials, like, I love you, but make more and then call me, please. You should be making on average $35 an hour. So I don't want to lose sight of that, because it's these little tiny things that make the biggest difference in this business. It's the difference between being able to take the phone and pick it up and have Karen tell you, to fly a kite and move on. I'm not saying you're not going to be emotional the first time. Like, you might be like, oh, like, well, she wasn't very nice. Like, okay, cool, but move on, because there's been times I've killed my whole dial session because I got stuck on what Karen, Scott, and Fred had to say in the beginning. Who cares? Who cares? Like, just toss it. Next. You never have to talk to them again. So there are people, they want our help, they need our help, but New Agent Call is typically going to be hosted by Paul McLean, so West Coast president. If not, it's going to be by, somebody like myself or Rochelle, Yori, so many different people that are just kind of moving up into leadership. So it's always going to be a great person on there, and typically with a brand new agent that just came in and kind of hearing from their experiences. And I think that's the biggest thing that we all can learn from is other people's experiences. So definitely make it a point to put that on your calendar if you have it already, every Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern. All right, and then also, we want to make sure we're utilizing, so 35% off all internet leads. So if you do not have work spots, and you work here, like, I get it. Like, I don't know, like, that's the best I got right now is get it, because you're going to waste so much money if you don't. You're like, it's $99 a month, but it's like, some of you guys we're looking at our carts, our lead carts in the CRM, and it's going to save us more than $99 just on that lead order. So 35% off all internet leads. If you are a WorkSpots member, so again, you'll have your own unique code. You can use it up to 7 times. I know I've used mine quite a few times already. So make sure you're using yours, right? But make sure you have WorkSpots. It's not just for lead discounts. If you don't know what WorkSpots is, please reach out to your upline or reach out to me so we can get with you on how this is going to help in many different factors. But 35% off all internet leads. So let's go WorkSpots. All right, and then just plugging in. Like, I'll never beat this up enough. You gotta plug in. If you don't have the PDF of this weekly training schedule, I don't know if you're on our team, so you should maybe reach out to the person who hired you if you don't have that. If you've checked your email, you should have it. So point being is you do have it if you got a welcome email, which you all did. Stay plugged in. Even being in this business now, and it's like weird because I'm like, wow, I'm old. Like for like for 8 years, 8+ years, like not with FFL. One thing I know for a fact is when I unplug, whether I think I'm great, I think I'm awesome, I think I'm doing, awesome, or I think that I'm doing awful at that point in time in the business, I stay plugged in. Because when I watch the TNL and there's people on there and they're killing it, like, that motivates me and makes me remember, like, hey, you didn't just get lucky for 8 years. Just like anybody, if you're 6 months in and you've been doing well, you didn't get lucky for 6 months. You know what you're doing. Sometimes we just need that reiteration from another voice of, hey, like, this is what I do. And then you tweak, adjust small things, you hear things, you pick up tips, and next thing you know, you find yourself saying those same exact things that you just heard in the next home that you're in. And that can be the reason why you close that home. So stay plugged in. Like just stay plugged in. Like if somebody said, what's the number one thing that you could tell somebody going into 2022 that works at Family First Life, I would say stay plugged in. Because staying plugged in means a lot of things. It means that you're going to events. It means that you're probably on work spots because you're plugged in. So you hear about it. So you're like, oh, where's my closest local office? And you're doing that, and you're getting yourself there, and you're actually taking that next step. So just plug in, plug in, plug in. And if you haven't already registered, register now. So www.fflconvention.com. Again, you know, I was speaking with Yori the other day, and we were on the phone, and we were like not kidding, but we were like we actually weren't kidding at all. And we were just saying, like, there's really not a reason why anybody shouldn't be at this event. And it's not because like me and Yori and Christina are like running the event and we're like, oh, it would be really cool if we just like made everybody go. Like, no, like I wouldn't no, like that's not what it's about. It's about meeting people outside of the group. It's about meeting your actual upline. Like I know for a lot of you guys, I haven't met you yet in person. I want to meet you there. So the whole company will be there. So it's a free event. You know, at my previous or practice company, we used to pay literally thousands of dollars to go to these events, which is kind of laughable now, but wasn't at the time. And we would go there and we would pay for training. Like we paid for the venue. Like, you know, it's like Sean Mike is saying, we're going to be in the Florida Marlins Stadium. I think that's what it's called. And, you know, we're going to do an event there. And we're going to make it the best event, the biggest event, and the most helpful event for all of the agents out there, no matter what you're looking for. You could have been in this business for a day. You could be in pre-licensing. You could have just watched the overview and you just want to know more. Get yourself there. You're going to learn anything and everything that you need to learn. And you're probably going to find a way to tweak and adjust what you start doing going into January, in February, saying, okay, if I change these couple little things, the small tweaks that matter, my business can explode in this way. So register now. And again, what me and Yori were, you know, on the phone talking about was basically saying there's really not an excuse as to why, you know, you shouldn't be there. Like, get yourself there. You know, if it's like a very, like, it's something that you already know you can't be there, definitely I encourage you to reach out to your upline and let them know that. Just because the way that we kind of see it, just being really transparent, because I love you all, is like, if you care and this is your career, you're going to be there. Like, just like if you were working at any other corporate job or any other job, like if they're having an event, you would have to be there. So if I think about it, just like if I had to dial the phones until I had 16 appointments, what would that look like, right? If I had to go to this event, how would I plan it, right? So figure it out, definitely get yourself there, book your hotel, book your flight, and just get and bring people with you that want to see and learn about FFL, because there's not going to be a better event in 2022 than this annual convention. So get yourself there. All right. Other than that, it's again, so we're just kind of wrapping up the year. It was great having Daniel on. Does anybody have questions, comments, concerns, anything they want to bring up? Feel free to unmute yourself.
I'm just going to co-sign and say I can't wait for convention either. Can't wait to see all of you. Some of you I've met in person, some of you not yet, but I deal with all of you, a lot of you on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, it's going to be awesome to bring us together and just, yeah, set us up right for 2022. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks, Zach. Anybody else? All right. Well, I do just want to reiterate. So today is, you know, Thursday. I know we're going into a new year. For me, booking my appointment, like booking my schedule, it hasn't been really challenging. And I'm not just saying like it hasn't in terms of like New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. People are home actually. Like this is probably going to be like a very profitable weekend to be running. So if you didn't book appointments, you probably should. And if you are booking appointments, make sure you get your 16 appointments. It's going to be a good weekend to run. People are like, everyone wants to go into the next year better, right? Including our clients, right? But they want to go, it sounds like silly, but like in 2022, okay, they want to protect their final expenses. Like maybe they had a death in the family. 90% of the time that I sit with a final expense client, it's like they just lost somebody or they've been through several losses. So going into 2022, we always want to try to put ourselves into a better predicament. And that's what our clients are doing too. So they're a lot less resistant on the phone, at least that's my feel. So again, Thursday, dial day, anything I can do, feel free to reach out to me. But I'm just super proud of everybody on here. And thank you for what you guys all contributed in 2021. It's been amazing working with all of you guys. And I'm truly looking forward to what 2022 has to bring for this whole team. So super proud of you guys. Thank you guys. Love you guys. And talk to you guys